How's it, guys? So today I find myself in the Northern Cape, and I'm probably visiting the toughest cattle farm or cattle farming conditions that I personally have seen to date. But before I continue, let me just first quickly sort out my shout outs for today. So today's shout outs go to Ari S. Makandu, Bex Dozi, Gustavo Africa, Neo Meloto, Solise Mahire, Andile, Luyanda, forgive me, Luyanda, thanks by the way. I actually made a turn at the Afrigas farmer you mentioned the other day. Craig Voliter, Colin Hartman, John Hurt, Sidwell Masenge, Peter 7597, Yaku Noordman, Ntebugang Mataka, The Mastermind King, and Louis Creer. Guys, thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Thanks for the comments. So today I'm in the Northern Cape. Now, I want to show you what it looks like here. Cattle get fat off rocks and a little bit of grass. I'm at Nguni farmer, Dawie Kotze, and we're at Boesmanspoort, Nguni stud. And guys, I came out to have a look at his animals because I have this belief. I'm fairly new to the Nguni breed. I have these convictions. But I need to reaffirm and confirm that that which I think is the truth is in actual fact so. So I was doing some work at Colesberg. I phoned Dawie up and I said, Dawie, can I come and visit you? And he said, sure, you're welcome. He said, but it's been a long, hard, tough winter. The animals are just coming out of the winter, so they're not looking as good as I'd like them to look. I said, Dawie, that's okay. We're not here to judge. In fact, I rather want to see animals as they look in reality, rather than animals that have been pampered and puffed up and made to look beautiful. So guys, look at this cow. Take note of what the environment looks like. Keep in mind we've just been through a hard, tough winter. And have a look at this beautiful black Nguni cow. Now, just a little bit of history on this farm. Let me quickly just go off on a tangent, as I always do. 13 years ago, he moved in on the farm. And he decided to apply high-density grazing. Now, high-density grazing will look different from region to region. At the time when he moved onto the farm, his grazing capacity or carrying capacity was 15, 16, 17 hectares per large stock unit. He got a specialist out. They devised a plan, stocking numbers, stocking rates, things like that. And in 10 years, he's improved his carrying capacity from 16, 17 hectares per large stock unit to 9, 10 hectares per large stock unit. So whatever this looks like now, just remember, he's actually doubled it in terms of efficiency, in terms of carrying capacity, in terms of grazing quality. Also keep in mind, he started 10 years ago, or just over 10 years ago, with Ngunis. He chose the Ngunis because he said that he doesn't want a high maintenance, hard-working animal that requires a lot of time and effort to farm with. So he got the Ngunis, and the Ngunis he started off with then would have had it a lot tougher than the animals he has today. Now, just quickly, I just want to show you guys. If you have a look at that mountain in the back, I'm going to show you a clip a little bit later of animals walking over there. The animals he breeds, and he crosses as well with Angus, and he crosses them for the slaughter market. But he's breeding or replacement heifers And his slaughter animals, he actually puts in the back over there in a camp by that koppie. He puts them in there, forgets about them, and they come out looking beautiful. And you'll see a little bit later, there's 1 or 2 old cows there that he has to cull out, and they will be a little bit thinner. But he has an ongoing selection process to ensure that he only keeps back the best, the toughest, the most suitable and most adapted animals. Now, he's improved the grazing so much that he actually ended up with too much grass in this area. It doesn't look like it, I know. And he's had to get in what we call hummels. It's castrated rams. I actually don't know what you call them in English. Isn't that sad? Castrated rams that he keeps here and puts 30 kilos or so on them. He shears them and then he sells them for slaughter. And the purpose of these animals is to provide an extra income, but also to help utilize the extra grazing he has now basically got because of his high density grazing system. Now, these are just some of his animals. They're not all here. You can imagine a farm like this, you've got huge camps. In this area, camps are easily 1,000 hectares large, although his aren't. And because you don't have dense stands of grass and grazing like you would have by us, the animals spread quite a bit over your camp while they're grazing. You're not going to see it now, but over there is probably another 30 or 40 animals grazing over there. So they spread out. Having a look at this herd, these animals are in mint condition. You might say, Shane, how can you say that? They're not really that fat and they're a little bit ribby. Well, it's quite easy. At the end of the day, you need animals to thrive. If you're farming with cattle, you need them to thrive. How do you measure that? Well, there's 2 ways to measure it. The first method is your intercalving period. And because he's a stud breeder, he records each and every birth. And he told me that his average intercalving period on this farm over his whole herd is 366 days. Guys, that's a lot better than many other farmers who have other breeds and feed their animals a lot of supplements and extra feed. I mean, just look at the conditions here. It gets to minus 16 in the winter. Granted, it's not minus 16 for 3 months in a row. It might be minus 16 for 3 or 4 days. But they're often at minus 10 and minus 12. That's hard. That's harsh. In the summer, they go as high as 39 degrees. So you really have 2 very different extremes. And look at this, guys. Look at this. Now, for those who don't know this kind of area, you might say, geez, there's bugger all growing here. This veld is actually in brilliant condition. For this area, it's looking very good. And it's just testament to the fact that his grass management or his camp management is really good. I mean, he's doubled his carrying capacity if you think about it, or just about doubled it. So his management systems are brilliant. And also, the type of animal he farms with are complementary to this environment, because this is a very brittle environment. This is a camp that is grazed. You can see it's short. The green grasses are coming through. This camp will rest for 360 plus, maybe 400 days. He'll graze this camp for a week. I think he said his camps are 45 hectare sizes, if I'm not mistaken. So they'll be in here for 7 days, and so he'll move them on. And despite what your first initial impressions might be, and this is the purpose of my channel, is to share with you guys different systems, different approaches, but more importantly, different success stories. Now, it's ironic. Davy said that he wanted to farm with Ngunis because he's basically semi-retired and he doesn't want to work hard. And yet, he brings his cows in every month and he weighs all his cows and all his calves, and he plots their weight gain and their weight losses. He does a lot more effort than most farmers do, most pedigree or stud farmers. Now coming back, if I'm not mistaken, this is the cow that he said is 12 years old. I think that is her calf. In fact, I've already asked him, will this calf be, or when will this calf be at the next auction? Because I really like this calf. I hope he decides in a year or two's time to let her go. And I hope that I can be at the auction when she's on offer. But this cow is 12 years old. She's looking very good. Yes, she's a little ribby. Guys, this is reality. This is what life looks like. This is what a good, hard-working, solid cow looks like. She's not filled with makeup and polyfiller like many of the celebrities we see on TV. When they're on TV, they look all beautiful and so. And then when they wipe the makeup off, you don't know who you're looking at. This is brutal, honest truth. I mean, look at this animal. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the condition. Granted, she must still calf, she's pregnant. And those that have calved are a little bit thinner. But then their actual rainfall is only February, March. So their rainy season hasn't even started yet. It's a totally different environment to what we have in the Free State or in Gauteng or in Natal. He doesn't feed any supplements. I'm going to show you guys quickly. He's sitting in the vehicle. I'm trying not to film him unnecessarily. Not everyone's comfortable being on film. There we are. For those of you who sometimes question my integrity and say, but it's impossible, they must be fed something else. Salt supplements, and the sun's at a bad angle, so I'll go around. Look at that manure. End of the winter, look at those patties. You can expect them to be a little firmer, but very good digestion. Have a look at that. How can you argue with that? Look at this animal. Look at her. She is given the conditions, given this area, given the climate, given the terrain. These animals are spot on. Look at those little calves. If you doubt, how's your measure? If you're a good farmer, if your animals are thriving, look at the number of calves walking around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 calves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. I count 10 calves, 12 cows. I could have missed one, it doesn't matter. 10 calves, 12 cows. At least one of the cows I saw is still pregnant. So how do you argue against that? How do you know an animal or breed is thriving? When you get calves on a regular basis, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the condition of these calves. Anyway, guys, I thought I'd quickly share that with you. It's been a while. I've been looking so forward to this visit. I really need to sometimes reiterate or just convince myself that I am in fact on the right path, and every time I come to a place like this, every time I see something like this, it just reconfirms or reaffirms what I believe. And just something I neglected to mention earlier, because I sometimes get carried away and I talk too much nonsense, but he doesn't use any form of tick dips. He doesn't treat them for internal parasites. Now on these koppies over here, on the top over there, where they often graze, he says there's areas there that are so steep that he's got to go and hands and legs, hands and feet. You can't walk up there straight. But in those koppies, you get what they call Boesmanspoort. It's a tick that basically causes the animals to become paralyzed. And many indigenous animals, like for example, gemsbuck, will actually die from that. But he doesn't do any tick treatments or dipping or anything of the sort. And he doesn't have a problem. He doesn't treat them for internal parasites. In fact, he says His biggest job is to weigh them once a month because he chooses to do so. And then other than that, they move them once a week. And he drives in the vehicle and he has a look at them. And that's as much work as they are to him. Of course, he's got to record all the calves and all of those things, but basically, they're such low maintenance animals. Anyway, guys, I don't want to stretch this out too long. My host is waiting for me, and I don't mean to be rude. He's already given up a lot of time for me. But just look at this area, guys. I can't reiterate how amazing this breed is. Look at those mountains. We're in the middle of nowhere. This is what their grass looks like. And you might say there's a lot of grass, but it's pretty lignified. Look at the camp next door. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot. Have a good one. I appreciate the support, and to the guys overseas, hope you guys aren't missing home too much. And hopefully we win the rugby this week. Have a good one. Cheers.